Sonic Forces, the newest modern Sonic game being made by Sonic Team, featuring the most recognizable gameplay styles of modern Sonic, classic Sonic, and a third custom character. And it's not that impressive. And, here's why. When it comes to Sonic Forces, the issue of pandering to older fans to bring in more sales becomes extremely evident. Reusing the classic Sonic gimmick from Sonic Generations, bringing back Green Hill Zone, and once again using several gimmicks from the past few modern Sonic games, such as using the Wisps from Sonic Colors as the power-ups for this modern title. Sega is trying to use this to attract all fans of modern and classic Sonic by taking several gimmicks and ideas from the past that worked, and mashing them all together up in this one game. Newsflash, Sega, just because you decide to use successful ideas from the past does not mean they will all benefit from being mixed and mashed together into one game. An example of this not working? Sonic Generations. While in that game, most of its content relied heavily on the modern Sonic, classic Sonic dynamic, when the game decided to revamp one of its most recent stages to the franchise, Planet Wisp, it's clear that Sega lost focus of the original game's vision when remaking the stage. In Sonic Colors, the Wisps were a gimmick of the game in the form of various power-ups Sonic can equip to either be an extremely fast laser, a drill, or a creature that devoured souls by eating everything. Although this gimmick wasn't something that was required to beat the game. In fact, the Wisps were most of the time completely optional. Sure, you couldn't reach that higher path or get that one red ring, but you could beat that stage without them. Something the Sonic Generations team seems to have overlooked, as in the Planet Wisp recreation, the Rocket and Spike Wisps were necessary to beat each respective act of Planet Wisp. Needing to rocket up sky high to reach that next part of the stage, or spin gears to open pathways, Sonic Generations proves that combining several successful gimmicks together does not necessarily mean success. In fact, it causes confusion and a lack of direction as some gimmicks take precedence over another. Instead of relying on old stages, retro gameplay, and successful gimmicks, they should be creating new stages, new gimmicks, and innovative, expansive, fun level design to keep things fresh and not make the game seem so bland and repetitive. This makes the game stick out from the rest and form its own identity. I know we have had a brand new customizable character gimmick implemented in the game. It was already revealed but there has to be some other way to form its own identity instead of being that one Sonic game where you create your own Sonic. This could be one of the most controversial things I must say on the matter, but the level design shown in the Sonic Forces gameplay so far is extremely linear. Yes, we do have very little gameplay to judge the game with, but that does not mean the game is free from criticism. People like to argue that the modern Sonic gameplay, the third character, the Green Hill stages, it's not that impressive now because it's still in development. This argument needs to die. Sega chose the gameplay of whatever stage they wanted. In fact, Sega has stated the entire game at this stage is playable from beginning to end. So if Sega really wanted to wow its audience, why did they choose something so incomplete? Got a little off track there, but in terms of level design, it's very barren and empty with not much happening at all. Let's begin with the modern Sonic gameplay stages. The stage seems to follow the same template set by stages such as Green Hill Zone and Windmill Isle. Very linear and packed together level design, held together by narrow corridors and little to no exploration or freedom. Although unlike Green Hill Zone and Windmill Isle, the stage seems to be more restricting and bland than ever. It doesn't have the unique and exciting set pieces that change like Green Hill. And it doesn't have the blazingly fast-paced level design to complement the stage, such as Windmill Isle. This modern Sonic gameplay is simply a long, narrow corridor with some areas to homing attack to reach the other side. Unoriginal and completely bland. Classic Green Hill Zone, this time covering the classic Sonic section of this. And holy hell is it automated garbage. speed boosters everywhere, long stretches of land where all you do is hold right, springs everywhere, even when they aren't needed. And my good pals, the invisible pop out of the ground springs from Sonic Lost World make a return to point you in the correct direction to go while making the gameplay experience very linear and leaving the player with little to no actual input into where they want to go and explore. How disappointing. Even more so since the custom hero gameplay has shown more of the same type of stage design. Very linear, basic, and looks unpolished. I can't stress enough how basic this stage design appears, as it's simply straight lines with rows of enemies ready to be knocked over like a pile of dominoes. Very basic and generic platforming, lazily held together by certain objects your custom character can grappling hook onto to move on to the next section of the stage, which only makes the game seem even more linear than it is. Splitting the stage up by using the grappling hook to send you to new sections makes the stages seem more segmented and less like it's all part of the same stage, but rather a bunch of many stages. We all know that classic Sonic's gameplay is going to be a repeat of classic gameplay in Sonic Generations, with a new addition here and there. I'm looking at you, Drop Dash. But overall, we know that classic Sonic's gameplay will once again focus on 2D platforming action, which is fine. As much as I'd want a completely 3D modern Sonic game, it won't happen. Oh well, at least you have modern Sonic Section and Forces to get our fix of completely 3D stages. Oh wait, no we don't. In fact, there's going to be even more 2D than we originally suspected, because the third custom character will be a 2D, 3D hybrid gameplay as well. Similar to, as Sega puts it, Colors Sonic. The one 3D Sonic game that is more 2D than all of them. Which in terms of gameplay, this game will have a estimated 66% of the game being 2D. This argument has been done to death already, so I'll keep this short. It's just disappointing considering Classic Sonic is getting his own game in the same year, he's made his way into Forces, and this third custom character, who is most likely going to be the biggest part of this game, will also be a 3D 2D hybrid. But for some reason, Sonic Team decided that modern Sonic still can't be fully 3D. Overall, while Sonic Forces reuses concepts, has an over-reliance on nostalgia with 2D, and so far has been shown to have linear level design, I am still very excited for this game, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm only seeing a very small portion of Sonic Forces, and that it's only uphill from here. There's so much we don't know about this title, from the game's story, which might suck since Warren Graft is writing it again, to the levels we will be exploring in the game. I hope Sega manages to prove me wrong and make me eat my words. Because believe me, there's nothing I'd want Sonic to do but succeed. To rise again into the world of the mainstream and be universally praised again. Because this fan base that Sonic has is toxic. Full of people who think they know what's best for Sonic while shooting down everyone else's suggestions without realizing how it could help them more than they know. I don't claim to know the answers. I'm simply an individual with a voice that just wants to be heard, with whatever small audience I may have. Don't take my suggestions and negativity to heart. Instead, think of them as suggestions to what I think could help. But in the end, it's important for people to form their own voice, and not to blindly follow others in what they believe is right. And with that, I leave you to form your own conclusion for what you think and what you hope about Sonic Forces. Okay, enough of this bullshit. Okay, so, yeah, guys, there's a reason for all this, why it took me forever to make a video. Yeah, I'm working on something, so that's why. Bye.